Okay guys, so I am just about to plan out what I was going to have for dinner, and I know that for many of you, you're either busy moms, you're busy working, and it's just like you get home, what do I eat? And you're just kind of scrambling to put something together. And usually the easiest option is just to order takeout. I know that I've certainly relied probably a little bit too much on that, over the last couple of months at least. But I do have a couple of ingredients here that I want to use, particularly the pretzel bun. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to make some pizzas and some burgers. That's great for adults. It's great for people with children. It's super quick and easy, and I'm going to write a list of all the things that I need to kind of complete this dish. And then I'm going to head over to the grocery store with you guys and then explain to you why I'm getting certain brands and what alternatives I might use instead of a regular version. And I wish that you were here to taste these, but I do have somebody that's going to be tasting these for us, and they can give you, I guess, their opinion on these lower calorie versions of pizza and burgers. Okay, I'm going to start with the veggies. So let's go have a look in that area. You know what? There's nothing better than just having one slice of tomato on a burger. So I'm going to get the biggest. See how this is going to fit perfectly inside our burger bun instead of doing like multiple little slices from a little one. This looks pretty good. Sorry, these butter heads are easily my favorite for burgers because they're perfectly circular, and again you just have one or two thin slices straight on top and they fill out your burger just fine. Alright, so one of the things that I was going to try to find today to have as a side were sweet potato fries to go with our burgers. I want to get a little bit of, some color on the plate, not just a burger. And recently I found, like, in the depths of the refrigerator section or freezer section, they were a tri-colored fry. I wanted to do that for the kids because secretly it was parsnip, I guess purple potato, and carrots. You'd salt them up, and then I'd put a little bit of sweetener, and then I would drizzle over some of the pancake syrup, so it was like super sweet, and they really enjoyed it. Now, I don't know that they're going to have those here, but I'm going to look for zucchini fries as well because they were the bomb. Okay, so we've got our sweet potato fries. These are pretty low in calories. For a single serving, you can see they're only 5 grams of fat. I would probably do those in the air fryer or in the oven, and that'll keep the calories down for our meal today. I make a couple of different varieties of burger patties when I am at home. Sometimes I'll do a turkey patty. Now, instead of getting them already made up, these aren't too bad, to be honest. They're 93% fat-free, so only 7% fat. So we flip it over. For a single burger, you're looking at about 8 grams of fat. Significantly better than getting a beef burger, which would sometimes be up to 42 grams of fat. What I would do instead is I would get the 99% fat-free either chicken or turkey. I know I'm holding a ground chicken, but I would get the ground turkey, which is also 99% fat-free. And I would make that into my own patty. So this is an 85% fat-free beef. It's not what I usually use, but this brand, Maverick, they have a 96% fat-free beef that I usually use to make my patties. So this is a really small store, so it's really frustrating, and I've had other people tell me the same thing as well.
Oh
my god. Oh my god, I just died. I've had other people reach out and be like, hey, where do you get that stuff? So I would recommend doing your grocery online and going from a superstore where they've got more produce and more selection. So this isn't what I wanted to get, so I'm going to go with probably a 93% fat-free option instead. But I'll show you the macros when I'm finishing up the meal with the assumption that you've used the 96% fat-free. Alright, so this is what I'm going to use in today's recipe. That you can see here, also 8 grams of fat, similar to the turkey, to be honest, but this is really good for a low-calorie option if you're wanting to use beef. So I've got 2 brands of regular burgers that are going to be similar to what you would get when you order out, when you go to a fast food store. And just for reference, so you just saw me hold up the beef that I'm going to be using. This particular product, you can see there, has 35 grams of fat just for the patty. That's before we start adding in our aiolis or our cheese or any of the other good stuff like the pretzel bun. So this is significantly higher fat. Other brand, not as bad, but still 27 grams of fat. So we could literally eat 3 of those other burgers for the same as one patty here. Okay, so usually if you're having a burger when you eat out, there's going to be some kind of bacon. I love bacon. I have it occasionally, but what I'm going to use today to make these at home is Canadian bacon. So this again fits perfectly on your burger bun. It's 97% fat-free. For 3 slices, which we're not going to use all of those in our burger today, but it's only got 1.5 grams of fat. So extremely high in protein and makes a really good alternative, and it fits perfectly on your bun. Just for contrast, this thick cut bacon, which is usually what would be used if you were eating in a restaurant, significantly more fat. So we're looking at 6 grams here for 2 slices fried, which would be about the right amount to have on a burger. So you're saving yourself quite a lot of calories just by making some of these really simple substitutions. Alright, so the other product that I'm going to get today, which I know that there's so many of you that are going to be like, that's so nasty. No, it's not. Fat-free Simples. People are like, that's not even real cheese. Well, let me just read you the ingredients just so that we are on the same page and that we can agree that this is cheese. The first ingredient, and that is always the ingredient in a food product that is in the greatest quantity. And as you go down that list, that's when it's very minuscule amounts towards the end. It might be like a herb or a spice or something, or an emulsifier to kind of bind, or something that helps something keep a stable shelf life. So skim milk cheese is the very first thing on this list. Second thing on the list is skim milk, and then buttermilk, and then milk protein concentrate. So there is nothing wrong with this cheese. It's just not as nice in your mouth. So the mouthfeel is way different, right? Like if I'm gonna make a sandwich, I want like a real piece of cheese. But again, we're making tonight pizzas, we're making burgers. This is going to be melted on your patty. So, and again, the nutrition for this, 0 grams of fat. 0. So you're getting mostly protein. Okay, so this is also another product that I use all the time. It is a margarine spread. It's actually made out of soybean, palm kernels, and palm oil. So there is only 4 grams of fat per serving. Only one of which is saturated. So if we're thinking about, keeping our cardiovascular system healthy, then this product, you'd have to be eating tubs of this to be getting an unhealthy amount of saturated fat. We're going to use it the same way that we would for any kind of cooking or any kind of margarine or butter spread. Alright, so mayonnaise, obviously a nice addition to a burger, but also usually extremely calorically dense. So if we want to pull out like a regular mayonnaise, let me just grab one off the dish. So for a 13 gram serving, which is absolutely nothing, 10 grams of fat. You can do the math at the moment. It's starting to add up. But this product is something that I have used for a little while now, and this one, for the same serving size, only has 1.5 grams of fat. So, in fact, it's a bigger serving size. So it is Miracle Whip Light. Now, it doesn't come with the convenience of a squeezy bottle. You have to spoon it out like old school, but I think it's worth it. Okay, this is one of my favorite sections of the grocery store. So I used to be terrified of drinking alcohol, and as a competitor, most people are like, you're not drinking alcohol, are you? And I'm going to turn around and say, I will include a glass of wine with dinner, a couple of nights a week, just as a nice way to kind of end and wrap up my day. And I'll do that all the way through to maybe 3 weeks out. And only then is it not worth the calories, when I'm really hungry and I would rather eat my calories instead of having a glass of wine. So there is no inherently, negative outcome from drinking alcohol if it's consumed within moderation. You track the calories, you count it as a carbohydrate, and the reason that we count it as a carbohydrate is that the thermogenic effect of food from alcohol is most similar to a carbohydrate. So the thermogenic effect of carbs are about 10 to 12%. For alcohol, it's a little bit closer to 20%. So it's not quite as high as a protein, but it's a little bit higher than a carb. So that's why I track alcohol in general as carbs. So we're gonna have wine with our dinner tonight. We're having burgers and pizza. I'm gonna have some wine. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be bringing to you two of what could possibly be America's most favorite foods, pizza and burgers. So I have just finished up a long day of work. I've been doing a lot of filming and I honestly have only had one meal today. And I had one sip of my delicious wine and I was like, oh my goodness. So I better get things rolling before I tackle that because I do need to eat. Now, the whole point of filming today was to be able to kind of bring to you something not only that's tasty that everybody enjoys, but I wanted to do it in a way that is a little bit more calorie friendly. So obviously there's an assumption that typical foods like your pizza and burgers, you know, they just can't be tasty if they're made healthy. And I totally want to disagree with that. I'm, you know, the first person to put my hand up and say that I love, you know, a good burger just as much as the next person. But we can do it for literally half the calories. And I'm going to show you at the end of today's video what a regular burger might be from maybe like 3 different fast food chains, and then what our burger comes out at today. So the first ingredient that we're going to use today is the ingredient that's going to take the most amount of time to cook, and that is our beef. So I'm going to be using a 93% fat-free beef today. I usually like to cook with a 96% fat-free beef, but the store that I was shopping at just didn't have any of those ingredients. So I'm opting for this today, but the macros that I'm going to show you at the end of today's film are going to be making the assumptions that you're using the extra lean beef. This is probably going to taste a wee bit better because there are some extra fats in this, but it's pretty dang similar. So I'm going to go ahead and make these into some patties. I've got about 450 grams of beef here, so that's going to be perfect for 4 patties. So I'm just going to salt this beef. You might be wondering, wow, that's a lot of salt. I wonder if that's a bad thing. I'm going to say, you know what? The regulations around sodium consumption are actually set based on a very small percentage of people that have a salt sensitivity, and that's only about 5% of the population. So salt isn't inherently bad. Our body is very, very good at, I guess, maintaining a tight homeostasis. If we get too much solute, the solute load is too high, we retain more water. If we don't have a whole lot of sodium, then we let go of a lot of that water. So sodium is really only an issue for a small subset of people, but you know, as a way to protect our society, obviously the government has to make sure that those people are taken care of, and we set nutrition recommendations and I guess salt recommendations as well. So I do cook with a lot of salt. I don't have a salt sensitivity. And typically my average daily sodium intake is probably anywhere from say 3,500 to 4,500 milligrams per day. And I also have some red pepper flakes. Because I have IBS, for those of you that don't know what that is, it's irritable bowel syndrome. We tend to be extremely sensitive to a number of, I guess, seasonings, particularly garlic and onion. And it sucks because I love those flavors and they're in so many things. But if I have those, especially the concentrates, which is usually what's in all of our favorite seasonings, I am absolutely balloon-like. I look extremely pregnant and it's very, very uncomfortable. So I have had to learn to cook in ways that I still enjoy, but using seasonings that do not have garlic and onion salt. So I am extremely heavy-handed with this guy. So if you're wondering why, that's my cause. Next, I'm going to be using some of the Laughing Cow cheese. So I want a cheesy burger. There's nothing better than like biting into a beef patty and it's got melted cheese in the middle. So the reason that I'm using this and not a regular cream cheese is because it is significantly lower in calories. So one triangle or one wedge has 1.5 grams of fat. And for a similar serving size of any other kind of full fat cheese, especially cream cheese, you're looking at somewhere between 7 to 11 grams of fat. So I am saving myself substantially by using this. And because we're heating this product up and we're not necessarily eating it fresh, I don't mind the organoleptic changes that take place because of the heat that we're applying. If I was going to eat it fresh, that might be a bit different of a story. It'd be like using some of the singles cheese on a fresh sandwich. Like, it's just not as good as using like a nice, fresh slice of mozzarella. So I didn't train forearms today. I'm definitely training my forearms right now. Okay, so we don't have to get it perfect. At the end of the day, it's just going to be a filler inside that burger patty, and I'm going to go ahead and make that into 4. All right, so I've just grabbed myself a food scale. So this is going to help me determine what the weight of each burger should be. So I'm literally just going to sit this down here, and I'm going to tear it, and then pull up my big glob of beef patty mixture, and it is 652 grams. So for every individual patty, I want to have about 163 grams. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. We'll portion it out and then we'll roll them into shapes. Okay, so I'm going to just press these into patties and then I'm going to go and grill them. If I didn't work biceps, I'm definitely working biceps. We're doing all the muscle groups today, guys. Don't worry about training when you do this recipe. Okay. I'm just going to go wash my hands and then we'll get frying. So I'm just going to bring this pan to temperature. I've got it set on the double pan and I'm going to give that a quick spray just with some cooking spray. I tend not to use a pour oil just to moderate how much I'm using. Again, my background is bodybuilding and physique sports, so we have to be so mindful of extra calories, and this is a really simple way to just make sure that I'm not getting too much. And another really good tip, I guess, is if you are eating out and you are kind of following a diet, let's say you're working with a coach or you're using an app or whatever it might be, one of my go-to, I guess, requests is when I'm at a steakhouse or wherever it is, can I please have that without butter or oil? So most, I guess, steakhouses, and I'm using that as the reference because I love steak, they'll baste the steak with some kind of butter. And then they've also got butter on the pan or the grill or however it's being cooked. So no oil. I usually get all my dressings on the side. I'll try to find one of the lower calorie options or the lowest calorie option on the menu. Typically something that's not oil based. And then if there's like cheese crumbles or something, I'll also ask for that on the side. And that way, at least I can get a better visual of how much I'm going to eat if I want to put it on my plate. So yeah, quick tip if you're somebody that likes to eat out quite a bit. Alrighty, so we've got those patties ready to go. Pretty hot. These are looking good. I was waiting for the sizzle and it never happened. There's not enough oil on the pan. It's the one downside of being a competitor. I love myself a bit of bread and butter. And I've had to learn to not enjoy butter and oil quite as much because it just wastes too many calories. Okay, so patties are going to cook. That's going to be probably 2 to 3 minutes per side. I'm going to keep an eye on that, and then while that's cooking, I'm going to go and get my sweet potato fries, which I'm going to serve with today's meal, ready to go. Alrighty, so I'm going to take a tray here. I'm doing a high tray because I'm only going to be using a really small amount of sweet potato fries. So these are going to go in to this container. I'm going to deck it out with some alloy foil, spray it, grease it a little bit, and then add some seasonings. And again, I'm going to be using some salt And I'm also going to use some powdered sweetener, which may sound surprising to you, but there is nothing better than a crispy sweet potato fry that's also sweet and salty. Now we're going to be making 4, I guess, burgers. So I want to serve just enough for 4 people. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and weigh out about 250 grams in total here. We're not going quite a full serve for each person. Okay, so we're going to pop our fries in. I'm going to be using some powdered sucralose as my, I guess, sweetening agent. I would highly avoid using a liquid sweetener. I use that in my coffee. That will not work for a fry. It's just any surface area that takes on that liquid, that's where it's going to stay. At least this way we have a little bit more, I guess, ability to spread it out evenly. Bit of salt, same again, and I'm gonna pop that in the oven. Okay, back to the burger patty. I'm gonna flip those. Perfect, should have used a bigger pan. There we go. All right, so that was probably about 3 minutes to get that sealed. So now I'm gonna leave that here for another 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll take those off the heat and let them rest. Okay, so I'm also going to be adding some bacon to our burger. So I'm going to do 2 slices per burger, just for that extra bacony goodness. And again, these are Canadian bacon instead of regular. Just a lot lower in fat, and they also fit perfectly because they're circles. So I'm going to go and cook those up, and they'll go on top of our patties. So I'm just going to let those rest for a little bit while we wait for our bacon, and I'm going to toast our buns ever so slightly, and then we are done. Okay, I'm going to go some of our light butter. Just tricking. So I'm going to use about 25 grams of the mayonnaise, and keep in mind it's extremely low calorie, so I'm going to put that on the bottom as well as the top. So that big spoonful is probably about 15 grams on its own. Then we'll wrap it up at the bottom. Okay, burger patty next. For our bacon. This is a garlic onion free mustard. Some of the mustards on the shelf are going to have garlic and onion powder in them, so just be sure if you are somebody that has IBS that you're reading those labels carefully, because I made that mistake once before and it's just not worth it. Gotta love a good squeeze. Spread it all around, and then we are cooking. Alrighty guys, I am going to dig into one of these bad boys. Go this one, the brioche bun. So I'm gonna give you the macros for both of these burgers, but this one is probably the lower calorie bun compared to the pretzel, but it's gonna be amazing. That is really good. I need another bite. So guys, if you like my channel, please remember to go and subscribe, give this video a like, share it with your friends. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about what I do, the companies that I have, obviously everything is nutrition, exercise, science, food as well. Go and take a look in the description, and until next time, I'll see you then.